Alright, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube citizens, y'all know who this is. This is your boy Dash the True Inferno. Back with another Throwback Tunes on another Thursday, and I am reviewing another classic for you guys, and it is Doggystyle by Snoop Doggy Dogg, as he was known back then. Obviously, he's now known as simply Snoop Dogg, but yeah, you all get the point. So this joint came out November 23rd, 1993 under Death Row Records and Interscope Records. So here's the deal. So this joint was recorded from January all the way up to October the same year, 1993. So this album was recorded and produced following Snoop's appearances on Dr. Dre's debut album, The Chronic, which I reviewed last week, to which Snoop contributes significantly, as you all know. The West Coast style hip hop that he developed from Dre's first album continued on Doggystyle rather. And basically, some people believe Doggystyle as one of the most significant albums of the 90s, as well as one of the most important hip hop albums, rap albums actually, ever released. Much like The Chronic, the distinctive sounds of Doggystyle helped introduce the hip hop subgene of G-Funk to a mainstream audience, bringing forth West Coast hip hop, West Coast rap actually, as a dominant force in the early 90s. So yeah, there you go with that. And let's get into some background info on this album. So in 92, Snoop Dogg came to attention of the music industry and through his vocal contributions on Dr. Dre's The Chronic, as I said already, numerous times actually. That album is considered to have, and I quote here, transformed the entire sound of West Coast rap, end quote, by its development of what later became known as the G-Funk sound. The Chronic expand gangster rap with profanity, authoritarian, basically anti-authority, lyrics and multi-layered samples taken from 1970s P-Funk records. Snoop Dogg contributed vocals to Dre's solo single Deep Cover, which led to a high degree of anticipation among hip-hop for the release of his own solo album. Doggystyle and The Chronic are associated with each other mainly because each prominently features Snoop Dogg and because both contain G-Funk style production from Dr. Dre. The two releases are linked by the high number of vocal contributions from Death Row Records artists, including the Dog Pound, RBX, The Lady of Rage, while both contain a high density of, this is another word right here, misogynistic lyrics and profanity in their lyrics. In addition, the two albums are each viewed by critics as early G-Funk classics and have been described as joint at the hip. Doggystyle also marked the debut of Death Row vocalist Nancy Fletcher, the daughter of jazz legend Sam Fletcher. So there you go with that. And not much else is needed to be said there. Alright, so let's get on with the track. So looking at the other stuff, anything else interesting? No, I did not see anything else very interesting. So let's look at the tracks now. Actually, before we get to the track, let me look at the charts real quick. So the album was 24th out in Australia, 35th in Austria, 10th in Canada, 34th in Dutch, 21st in Germany, 70th in Ireland, 25th in New Zealand, 18th in Sweden, 24th in the Swiss album charts, 38th in the UK album charts, 12th in the UK R&B charts, which is weird, and number one in both the US Billboard 200 and number one in the US Top R&B/Hip Hop Albums charts. Now, wow, this is something new. Catalog charts. So we're talking from 97 all the way up to 2015. It was number 7 on the US Top Catalog Album charts and number 3 in the US R&B/Hip Hop Catalog Album charts. And by the end of the year, which is 1994, it was number 3 on the US Billboard 200 and number 1 in the US Top R&B/Hip Hop Album charts. Well, the joint did come out in November 90. Wait a minute. If this joint came out in November 93, and it was, wow. And that was the end of the 94 year's charts. That's crazy. That's over a year, basically. A year and a month. And at the end of 95, it was 100th on the US Top R&B/Hip Hop Album charts. And by the end of the decade, it was 64th on the US Billboard 200. So it just got back on that chart near the end of the decade. That's crazy. Now let's look at this certification here. It was platinum out in Canada and in the United Kingdom. Canada selling around 100,000 copies. The UK selling around 300,000 copies. It was gold in France, selling around 100,000 copies. And it was 4 times platinum here in the US, selling around 7 million copies. And worldwide, it was 11 million copies sold. So there you go with that. All right. So now with that out the way, we can get to the tracks. So there's 19 tracks. 6 of them are skits, so I can only give you guys the top 3, not the top 5. The first track is called Bathtub, which is a skit. It's a crazy skit. I didn't hear all of it because it sounded like some sex was going on in the bathtub, and I don't want to hear that. Moving on. Then we got the G-Funk intro featuring George Clinton, Dr. Dre, and the Lady Rage. You would think that would be a skit, but no, there were actually some lyrics being dropped on this track right here. And then, of course, we got one of the well-known Snoop Dogg singles of all time, Gin and Juice, featuring Dash Dillinger and David Ruffin Jr. Next up, we got W Balls featuring Nancy Fletcher, Malia Franklin, and Ricky Harris. Now, this is a skit right here. Crazy. Next up, we got THA, the Siznit, SHIZNIT, followed by Domino intro, which is another skit. That's actually the second skit. No, the third skit off this intro. Off this album skit. So we got 6 tracks in, and we already got 3 skits. That's kind of crazy. Next up, we got Lottie Dottie featuring Nancy Fletcher. There's some info on this track. We'll get into that in a second. And then we got Murder Was the Case featuring Dash Dillinger. Next up, we got Serial Killer with an A, not ER, featuring DOC rather, RBX and the Dog Pound. Track number 10 is called Who Am I? And actually, there's additional info about that Murder Was the Case track. Then we got Who Am I? And in parentheses, What's My Name? Another well-known single right there, featuring Jarrell, Dr. Dre, and Tony Green. Then we got track number 11, For All My Niggas with a Z and Bitches, ES, featuring the Dog Pound and the Lady Rage. Track number 12 is called Ain't No Fun, and in parentheses, If the Homies Can't Have None, featuring Nate Dogg, rest in peace, Warren G, Nancy Fletcher, and Corrupt. Track number 13 is called Chronic Relief Intro, so that's another skit. Yeah, he got like 3 tracks or skits that involve the word intro in it. That's crazy. And you said 3, you only named 2. Well, really, I named 3, but that one was a actual song. So really, there are 4 tracks with the word intro in it. We'll get to the next one in a second. Then track number 14 is called Doggy Dog World, which is the 3rd single off this album. Remember, says it correctly. And yeah, it is, featuring the Dog Pound, Nancy Fletcher, and the Dramatics. So that's very interesting right there. Yeah, that is the 3rd single actually. All right, moving on. Classroom intro, there it is. There's the 4th track with the word intro in it, and that's another skit performed by Shad Moss. Track number 16 is called G's with like GZ, and Hustlers, LAS at the end, featuring Nancy Fletcher. Then we got Checkin' without the G, you know, there's a apostrophe at the end of Checkin'. And then track number 18 is called G's again, GZ, G's Up, Hose Down, featuring Hug. Yeah, that's his name, Hug. Okay, well, okay. And then track number 19 is called Pump Pump, featuring Lil Malik. All right, so there you go with that. Now let's get into these 3 singles. So the first one was called What's My Name? Snoop Doggy Dogg song. So, or Who Am I? And in parentheses, What's My Name? So whichever one you want to roll with. So this joint came out on what is used to be known in Detroit as Devil's Night. Now it's called Angel's Night. So this is October 30th. So this single came out October 30th, 1993. All right. So this is the first single from his album, like I said. And it samples and interpolations from George Clinton's Atomic Dog in his chorus Inferno, and an interpolation from Parliament Gilbert the Funk, and in parentheses, Tear the Roof Off the Sucker in his bridge. The song's intro contains a sample from The Count's Pack of Lies, a vocal sample, The Bomb, from Parliament's P-Funk, and in parentheses, Wants to Get Funk Up, not fucked up, funk up, can be heard throughout. So yeah, there you go with that. And there is a music video for this single as well. And let's look at the charts. Ooh, okay. It was 13th out in Australia, 22nd in Belgium, 11th in France, 20th in Germany, 28th in Ireland, 8th in the Netherlands, 4th in New Zealand, 14th in Sweden, 21st in Switzerland, 20th in the UK singles charts, 27th in the UK R&B charts, number 8 in the US Billboard Hot 100 and in the US Hot R&B/Hip Hop Songs charts, number 1 in the US Hot Rap Songs, and 12th in the US Whitman charts. By the end of the year, it was 62nd in the US Billboard Hot 100 and 75th in the, by the end of the year, I mean 94. And it was 75th on the US R&B/Hip Hop Songs charts. And the song was silver out in the UK, selling around 200,000 copies, and it was gold in the US, selling around 500,000 copies. So, there you go with that. Also, In the UK in 2014, the song was used on an advert of Money Supermarket, which features Snoop Dogg. And it was ranked 456 on NME's 500 Greatest Songs of All Time list. So that's interesting. Next up, we got Gin and Juice. Okay, so this is the second single. The joint came out January 15, 1994. And we got a music video, obviously, for this as well. And yeah, we all know about that Gin and Juice. Yeah, we all know about that joint without question. All right, let's look at the charts here. 49th out in Australia. Ooh, this is new. 545th on the Mexico English airplay charts. So that's new. 11th out in New Zealand. 39th in the UK single charts. 8th on the US Billboard Hot 100. Again with that number on that chart. Number 1 on the US Hot Dance Single Sales charts and the US Hot Rap Songs charts. 13th on the US Hot R&B/Hip Hop Songs charts. And number 5 on the US Whitman charts. And it was, by the end of the year, it was 52nd on the US Billboard Hot 100 and 73rd in the US R&B/Hip Hop Songs charts. And it was certified gold, selling around 700,000 copies. All right, let's move on to the third and final single off this album, which is called Doggy Dogg World. I have to say this is the most underrated single off of this album. Probably the most underrated single Snoop Dogg put out. I had to wait and see on that one. All right, so here's the thing about this one. This joint came out June 26, 1994, only in the UK. So that explains a lot right there. And there is a music video for this single. So it features 1970s era classic R&B and soul group The Dramatics, and obviously Corrupt and Daz Dillinger from the Dog Pound is a part of this song as well. And we got Nancy Fletcher with the R&B vocals as well. It samples Richard's Dimples Fields, If It Ain't One Thing, It's Another from his 1982 album, Mr. Look So Good. The song's title is a reference to a common acorn of the phrase dog eat dog world. Dog eat dog, dog eat dog. Yeah, there you go with that. All right, so moving on. It was 29th out in Ireland, 48th in Scotland, 32nd in the UK singles charts, 46th in the US Billboard Hot 100 airplays, 25th on the US Hot R&B/Hip Hop Songs charts, and 19th on the US Whitman charts as well. All right, so there's two more songs with a little bit of info behind them, so let's take a look at them. And we got La Di Da Di. So yeah, that's another one of his songs off this album. And I guess it's going by another name. Oh no, yeah, no. The album got it as La, L-O-D-I, and then Dadi, D-O-D-I. But here they spelled it as L-A-D-I-D-A-D-I, which is weird, but okay, whatever. Oh, I know why. Because this is a playoff of Dougie Fresh song, which is La Di Da Di. That explains why. So yeah, there you go with that. All right, so that's basically it with that one. Now let's get on to the other one, which is Murder Was the Case. So let's see. There was a remix for this single from his soundtrack, Murder Was the Case, obviously. And in 2008, Lista Nova made a parody for 2008's presidential Republican candidate, John McCain, called Palin Was the Choice. Wow, where she portrayed McCain's running mate, Sarah Palin. Wow, and this actually made the charts, the actual song, Murder Was the Case. 67 in the US Hot 100 airplay charts and 36 in the US Whitman charts as well. And again, like I said, there was a remix for this as well. All right, so let me give you guys my favorite tracks off this song, off this album for us first. La Di Da Di, the beat is the worst track off this album, but it's only by comparison. The beat is cool. The flow's tempo was okay, but I really like the snare though. So it's like a slow tempo type of beat and song, really, because even the lyrics, not the lyrics themselves, but like the delivery was slow. So I was like, But yeah, moving on. Ain't No Fun and The Homies Can't Have None. That's a classic right there. Beat is cool. Never was a fan of this beat though, because it was mostly used a lot by many different people. If it was just like, was restricted to just this song, maybe one of the songs, maybe I don't know, then maybe I could like this. But it just used all over the place. So I was like, Next up is For All My Niggas and Bitches. The beat is great. Should have used a different snare if I do say so myself. The Snares is next. Beat is great. In this case, probably should have used a different hi-hat. Then we got G's and Hustlers. The bass makes this beat without question. Really good beat. And then we got Pump Pump. Now this is funny because when I first heard this, I'm like, this sounds familiar. And I had to look this up. I remember Dash P bust a freestyle over this. And I thought it was Sleeping Dogs, which is an actual video game that used this beat. But then I had to think about it. I'm like, no, wait a minute. Snoop Dogg actually came out with a video game called Ray of the Dog. And this song was, where this beat rather was used in that game. That's the only reason why I know about it. I like the tempo and the melody is really hard. It's a really good beat. Next up is Who Am I? What's My Name? That's a classic, semi-smooth, really good beat without question. Then we got Murder Was the Case, where the beat was really good. Probably should use a different snare though. Then we got Serial Killer with the A at the end. Like the tempo and the drums, and the beat was really good. Then of course we got the G-Funk intro. This beat is really great. I probably would have used a different snare. Semi-smooth with that bass though. That bass was kicking it though. All right, let me give you guys my top 3 favorite tracks off this album. So number 3 is G's Up, Hoes Down. And when I heard this, I'm like, wait a minute, that's the same sample that was used in Can I Live by Jay-Z. So there you go with that. Should have used a different drum kit. If they would have had a different drum kit, this would probably be the best song off this album, without question. But I really like the beat as it is, so they use a completely different drum kit on it. Number 2 is Doggy Dogg World. I really like this bass and the snare here. The beat is really good. It's an underrated single, mostly because it was only a single out in the UK. That's probably the only reason why. If that joint was dropped in the US as a single as well, I think it wouldn't be underrated. It would be not overrated. It would be just right. And then the number 1 song off this album is Gin and Juice. I mean, come on, man. This is a classic. The beat is really great, man, and it's smooth without question. Gin and Juice, the best track off of Doggystyle. Now, let me give you guys some professional ratings. All Music gave it 5 out of 5. Chicago Sun-Times gave it 4 out of 4 stars. All Music 5 out of 5 stars. Encyclopedia of Popular Music gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Entertainment Weekly gave it a B-. LA Times gave it 3.5 out of 4 stars. Q gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Rolling Stone gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The Rolling Stone Album Guy gave it 5 out of 5 stars. The Source gave it 4 out of 5. And Spin Alternative Record Guy gave it a 6 out of 10. That's crazy. Now, there are additional accolades here. So About.com, let's see, ranked the number 10 on their 10 essential hip hop albums back in 2006. Blender placed this on their list of 500 CDs you must own before you die, which was done in 2003. Ego Trip ranked this number 3rd on their hip hop's 25 greatest albums by the year 1980 to 1998. So that's crazy. Pause and Play got 2 of these accolades actually. They put it on their albums inducted into a time capsule list, 1 album per week. So obviously they put this album on there, and then they did another one. It was number 11 on their 90s top 100 essential albums list. Rolling Stones did one on their essential recordings of the 90s, and they put this album on there. And then apparently there was another one. Apparently Chris Rock did this one for Rolling Stones, the top 25 hip hop albums ever. And this album was number 2. This was done back in 2005. Stylist did their top 200 albums of all time list back in 2004, and they ranked this one at 115th. The Source did their 100 best rap albums back in 98, and apparently this album was on that list. The New Nation out in the UK did their top 100 album by black artists, and they put this one at number 30 right here. And then Robert Demery, how you pronounce that last name, did his 1001 albums you must have before you die list in 2005, and obviously this made that list as well. So what do I think about this album? Okay, it's a really great album. I'm gonna have to give this one a 4.25 out of 5 stars. I'm gonna go with that. I recommend that you, at the very least, download it and keep it. It really is a classic album. Outside of the likes of Gin and Juice and Doggy Dogg World, and obviously G's Up, Hoes Down, you know, there's not a lot here that made me go, oh my gosh. Yeah, I know that we got classics like Ain't No Fun, Homies Can't Have None, and what's the other one? Oh, Who Am I? What's My Name? You know, those are classic, but they don't really struck with me like that. You know, not like some of the singles that were used in Dr. Dre's The Chronic, without question. But yeah, 4.25 out of 5 stars. I recommend you download it, and I recommend you keep it. If you buy a physical copy of it, that's a plus. I can't hate you on that. So with that said, y'all know who this is. This is your boy, the new Jay Gatsby, aka the new Stephen A. Smith, saying peace out, y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Yeah.